Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
I'm not camping outside a store for Black Friday or any Friday.
We're with Kat. That's why our Ace Black Friday sale lasts all day. Just print out our online coupon, bring it in, and save 50% on an item under $30.
Ace is the place with Black Friday offers all day. Go ahead and sleep in.
Print out our coupon at acehardware.com and stop by Ace this Friday for 50% off one regular priced item under $30. Offer valid on November 25th only at participating stores. Limit 1. Exclusions apply. See coupon.
This election will decide whether we're ruled by a corrupt political class or whether we are ruled by yourselves, the people. Oh, we're going to have a great victory tomorrow, folks. They have no idea. This is considered, in the history of this country, the greatest movement. Nobody's ever seen anything like this, folks.
Well, we'll see. That tomorrow is now today. Welcome back, hour number 2, the Bernie and Sid show here on 77 WABC. Donald Trump speaking last night. Donald Trump, by the way, voting literally moments ago by his own home in New York City. Hour number 1, great job by the callers. We're going to get to a ton of you in hour number 2 as well, but we do have some guests stopping by with the election here today and tonight. Bernard, we start with a guy that you know from Fox.
He's not on the line
He's
yet.
not here.
But to your comment that Trump just voted, Noam reported that a couple of women disrupted the process, the operation. They took off their shirts.
Yeah.
And caused a delay. So they did.
I would say, though, I did watch Hillary walk into her polling.
Couple of boobs.
Yeah, a couple of moves. Her place in Chappaqua this morning in her hometown, and she was beaming, smiling. They were applauding. A completely different look with Trump. He walked in with about 9 guys, head was down, didn't see him smile, and just basically walked in and walked to the back and voted. Didn't seem nearly as happy as Hillary.
Completely a contrast to the whole campaign where you had...
Not the whole campaign.
Where
you even
Trump was sort of the happy warrior.
Right, but you even complained a couple of weeks ago. In that last debate, in fact, the third and final debate, that you felt like Trump had gone the other way.
There were some valleys, but mostly they were peaks. And he was the upbeat, happy warrior type. And as Mike Huckabee pointed out, she was the grumpy, the shrill, screaming at you kind of unpleasant candidate, I would say. So your observation from this morning, I didn't see it, but I take you at your word.
No, she looked very confident and happy, and he looked very businesslike.
So right now on the line, our guest, he's a Fox News contributor. He's also a Republican strategist and a brilliant guy. I've met him a couple of times. Tony Sayegh from, again, Fox News. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Bernard. Sid. Thanks, guys, for having me.
That's great to have you on this really historic day. And we keep hearing the same thing, Tony, Donald Trump, and there he is again voting moments ago and now leaving the polling booth. We keep hearing this, Tony, win or lose for Donald Trump. He has changed the elections in the future forever. He has done something, this revolution, this movement, where even if he loses today, he's opened eyes to corruption and other things going wrong in D.C. Do you think that's exaggerated, Tony, or do you think that's really the case that Donald Trump has changed things, win or lose, forever?
Look, there's no doubt that what he's caused and created is a movement, and I would actually give a bit of deference as well to another politician this year who did something similar, though not as successful, which is Bernie Sanders. There's a populist anger in this country that both parties have not adequately addressed, and I think Donald Trump has organized it. And it's not just Republican or conservative. It really it involves people who don't affiliate that actively with either party. So when you see results tonight, particularly from Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, Northern Michigan, and they're not what you usually expect, which is to deliver these states to a Democratic candidate. It's largely because Donald Trump has been able to really galvanize a whole part of this electorate that is not enthusiastic every 4 years to vote, who does not feel well served by the established order in Washington, and who really for the first time have organized in a way where they're a meaningful part of the electorate. Usually this is a fringe vote every 4 years. This year, it could prove to be the deciding vote, and that is, without a doubt, Bernard, not an overstatement. That is the reality created by Donald Trump.
No doubt about it. Michigan in play. Who would have thunk? And by the way, Ohio had been a swing state for a while there, a battleground state, and now it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Trump is going to win. So something happened out there. And so Tony Sayegh from Fox News, a Republican strategist, I want to ask you your gut instincts for Florida and Pennsylvania, North Carolina. How do you think this is going to go? Do you think there is, Trump down by maybe 2 or 3 points in some of the national polls and even the state polls? What do you think is going to happen?
Look, if you just look at the Real Clear Politics average on the electoral map, they downgraded Hillary Clinton to 274 from highs of over 300. Now, look, you need 270, so clearly she's just over the mark. But at this point, if you look at trends, forget about just the national polling. Let's look at the state-by-state trends in these battleground targeted states. It's all favoring Trump. The early vote in Florida, North Carolina, Iowa, Michigan, Bernard, you point to Ohio, which is perennially the bellwether, which is the state that everybody always focused on. Trump is up by 6 points, well outside the margin of error. So he's rolling into tonight on the right trajectory. She holds, no doubt, a slight advantage when you look at the national numbers. She's improving significantly in a state, for example, like Nevada and Wisconsin, which at one point were at play for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But when you take in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Colorado, these are the 3 states that Trump has to pick up at least one that could put him over 270.
Well, he won't win if he doesn't do that. But again, it doesn't look like he's. See, what's funny, Tony, about this whole thing is, and I'm a big fan of yours too. You're a brilliant guy. You know this stuff as much as anybody. Here you are telling us his trajectory looks good. He can do this, and yet everything else I read and look at says he's stuck. His best case scenario is 259. That's his best case scenario. If he gets Florida, which is still up there, maybe steals one of those states, gets North Carolina, that his path to 270 realistically is almost impossible. So how is it that I've got Tony here telling me that he's looking pretty good, and every place else they go 259 is as good as it's going to get?
You know, Sid, I think what you just described was probably very accurate 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't think even the smart folks who I'm very friendly with and collegial with, frankly, some from my side of the aisle, have really gotten it yet. And the funny thing among pundits is their inability to self-correct this year. Bernard, you nailed it in the beginning when you said this is a very unique year, something very different is happening, and Donald Trump has consistently outperformed polling. Now, if you think about the fact that Hillary Clinton certainly always has had, as any Democrat would, a much easier path to 270, I'm not going to argue with you, Sid. I'm giving you scenarios as they're developing in real time that show a dramatically changing electoral college map landscape. I'll throw in New Hampshire as well, where Donald Trump was last night. It matters. These little states, 4 electoral votes, couple it with Colorado, 9. That's 13. This is how he's going to get there. There's no doubt that if Hillary Clinton holds that great blue wall, maintains Pennsylvania and Michigan, look, he hits a roadblock, no doubt. But when you're seeing the numbers shifting so dramatically, just yesterday, for example, Sid, polls out of Pennsylvania and Michigan show Trump actually getting ahead of Clinton. Now, granted, within the margin, let's be fair. But still, you look at trends in polling. You don't just look at the top-line numbers. And the trend and movement is still in his favor in these state-by-state.
Why do you think that's the case? You know, we had this whole Comey thing come out last Friday. And, look, I know Trump supporters go, hey, where there's smoke, there's fire. So we know that they're bought and it's rigged. And so there must have been something. And once again, whether it was Lynch or Clinton, somebody got to Comey, made him shut up again. And her supporters are going, enough already. You're doing the same thing over and you got nothing. Do you think that, in fact, it did work in Trump's favor? And that's why we're seeing some of these trends.
Yeah, no, I think that's right, Sid. I think when Comey came back out and at least created the possibility that there was still something there in these Clinton emails that were found on the Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin server, it reminded people why they instinctively have always not trusted and not liked Hillary Clinton. So that changed the conversation in a really meaningful way. But I'll tell you something else that's not getting enough attention, is when the Obamacare premium hike started to become news about 2 weeks ago, we started seeing what we call the generic ballot, which is generic Republican versus generic Democrat, significantly improve. And by the way, I actually think that's what started the possibility and probably reality that Republicans will maintain the U.S. Senate is the Obamacare story. You combine that with what Comey did, I do think it changed the attitude, the mood electorally toward Republicans. But look, there's no doubt that if she maintains what she's supposed to as a Democrat, she can get to 300 electoral votes. That's a very likely scenario. I'm suggesting, though, that especially in these closing hours, Trump's map has begun to improve dramatically, and whether or not it's enough and there's enough time for it to manifest into a win tonight, obviously we'll know in a few hours.
Yes, as you point out, Tony Sayegh, Fox News contributor, Republican strategist, the Obamacare implosion devastating the middle class, no doubt having an effect. But I want to ask you, Tony, the so-called Brexit factor, the silent support, people not represented in the polls that we see. Can we factor in 2 or 3 points or 4 points for Trump? Is that an issue? Is that something that's real, or is it wishful thinking on my part?
No, you know what, Bernard? 3 weeks ago, it wasn't real. When Donald Trump in national polling was down 7, 8 points, no amount of undervote or silent vote was going to make up that ground. I always believed if you got this election nationally within 3 to 5 points, you can have a Brexit-style turnout where you're not calculating two categories of people in these polls. Number one, the closet Trump voter. They don't want to be called a bigot. They don't want to be called a racist. They don't want to be looked down upon in their society and community. So they're not talking about voting for Trump. But the bigger part is the new voter who's coming out specifically to vote for Donald Trump that frankly, and again, a lot of these pollsters are my good friends, but they're not calibrating their polling for that. The third part, I think, of the polling that's really going to be interesting is a lot of people are suggesting that Hillary can get an Obama-style turnout among the Obama coalition, African Americans, millennials, Hispanics. She's getting it on Hispanics actually even more than Obama, but significantly below performance targets among African Americans and millennials. That is a big problem for her because if they're overrepresented in these polls, that's a difference of 2 to 3 points, right?
Tony, on the way out, I did an interview this morning in Toronto. Believe it or not, they love this stuff. And I know a couple of weeks ago it was proven that Hillary Clinton, her campaign, was paying folks to go rebel rousers, basically start a bunch of violence and mess up a bunch of stuff at the Trump rallies. But I got to tell you, the morning host in Toronto, Tony, asked me this morning, and this is what the people outside this country think about this race. He said, let me ask you a question. If Trump loses, is there going to be violence? Are there going to be issues? Are his supporters are going to go crazy and start going berserk because they're so angry? Because outside this country, that's what the consensus is that the Trump supporters are angry, they're pissed off, they've had enough of this, of what's going on in America, and that they may, in fact, cause some issues if Donald loses tonight. Is that completely insane?
I don't think that's going to happen. The same thing was said and manufactured, frankly, about the Tea Party back when they had their heyday in 2010 to about 2012, suggesting that they were rebel-rousing, creating some sort of violence and, bigoted actions at some of their rallies. It was all proven to be wrong. A lot of it are dirty tricks. And look, maybe I have a higher threshold for dirty tricks having grown up in New York and New Jersey politics and understanding that it's kind of par for the course. But I'm really not that concerned about this country healing at least enough to have an orderly transition. People, you're right, so people have emotionally invested themselves in this election more than almost any I've seen. The outcome certainly is going to upset half of this country, whatever it may be. But, I maybe it's the optimist in me. I know you guys were talking about the happy warrior before. That's kind of how I would classify myself. I do think we prevail, but I do also think you're going to have, regardless, again, real soul-searching to do with how this government serves people if Donald Trump does not ultimately prevail and create the populist movement as part of the governing coalition.
Yeah, that movement does not go away. Tony Sayegh, Sayegh, by the way. Tony Sayegh, political analyst, Fox News contributor, smart guy,
great
guy.
Job. Great
Tony,
job.
Thank you very much for appearing on the Bernie and Sid show.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
You were great. Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thanks.